Okay, hello. Today I will be showing you the basics of Video Star, like how to import photos, how to get your audios and everything, and which things do what, and how to do certain things. So, what you're going to start by is first by going here, which here is where you can choose your format. Today I'll be just doing square, and this we're not going to need today, but like if you were like putting on watermarks or anything like that, you would use this. But today I'll be selecting an audio, which I will be going to my stuff and just choosing something random because what I'm probably going to do is I'm not even going to use this audio. It's just going to be silent. Here is where you import your photos. This is how you import your photos. You can either clip it here to how long you want it to be, which if you press once, you can go over keyframes. That's how you do that here. But I'm just going to go ahead and import it here. How you would clip this and how on each beat, like if you had a beat, you can either go to multi-layer, which it would have your little things right here, and you can go over. But quick split is easier for like if you were splitting a scene in half. But today we'll be using multi-scene split, which is normally what I do. Like it's easier for multi, like if you want to cut it twice, which you set split and then you can delete this. Now I will be adding in my second and just kind of adjusting this because well, it's just a little off. Now I'm going to be adjusting it as the same. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, but these are my two clips, and first we'll be going to this one. First transition I will be showing will be a spin transition. Here is your mirror, which you can either do this is a 9 mirror without it being wait, this is a 9 mirror, this is a 9 mirror, but this one is mirrored. This one is just like a 9 graph technically. But besides that, yeah, I'm gonna be using this one because this one looks a lot cleaner. I like using this one personally. So this is where you put your keyframe marker. Well, that's what I like to call. You can make sure if it's at the beginning of a transition, you're at the beginning. But if it's at the end of a transition, like if you're at the end of the clip, that's where your ending of your transition will be. So you can spin it, and you're probably wondering, what do these do? This one is a flip, which we don't need a flip, and this one is like to flip the other direction, which we don't need. So, oh, and also need to mention too, the arrows. If you see an X, that means you click down on it, which is what we need. So I will be turning this back to rotation, and you can just click it once or you can either slide it up. Normally I do like my rotations like 15 or like 20, but today we'll be doing 15. If you see the opacity, you can click that, and I don't have a layout selected, so I don't need that. But the opacity, this is just opacity. We have size, and it's also for your color effects, which down here is what you have. This is your layout, which is at your opacity, and which the size is your color and your sizing. By that being said, I use tracking blur for to make it look better. Tracking blur here, which how do you make a transition not look like that? See, this is what we call a graph. A graph, how I would explain it, what I would have to say, you can either do it like this, or I do them individually. You see how it kind of makes that intensified. But if you don't have tracking blur, which I need to mention, There is focus. Works great, but you're gonna probably have to use like a couple times. Normally, I used to use it like twice in order to get that transition to look clean and to get the outline and stuff to look good. So with an in transition, what you do is make it look like a roller coaster. You got to make it kind of look like this. And you don't want it to be too much, but it depends also on how your clip looks. You see the how the blur went and how it doesn't look as choppy. You want it to kind of be blurry, but not too. See, you just completed the first part of your transition. Now you go back to multi-layer, you pick your clip, and complete your transitions. I can't stress that enough. Complete your transitions. Whatever you do, complete your transitions. You go and like I said in the first, if it's at the end of the clip, if you want your transition at the end of the clip, you go to the end. But if you want it at the beginning of the clip, which in this case we do, we will go back to the beginning. And going back to the beginning, you can either make it 20 or you can go back 15. It doesn't matter how much. It depends on how hard you want to spin, how soft you want to spin. You can go to tracking blur, which this time I will use focus because not everybody has pro. So focus, actually, focus here, which the best one to probably use for a spin would be this. At this time, what you would do, like I said, the color green, you add your marker and turn it up. Just completely turn it up. You see how it is? Technically, you do the same thing with the graphs, but when you're making graphs, make sure they look like what I have. I do my own custom graphs, so every edit is a specific graph. I don't have presets and stuff like that for graphs. Maybe shakes, but now not graphs. Like I said, you can either just do it where the graph is kind of like this, or you can do it the method that I showed you, that you do it all in one line. But either way, you still should have a smooth edit. You can add a graph to here to make it on track with your clip, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. I would just like to add a graph. I just always like to add a graph with that. Make sure it's at 0 when you're at the end of your clip. You can make it more intense if you want. You can make it less intense. Since it is kind of this, I will make it at 50 because that's just how I like it. And there you go. Pretty much you have completed a spin. You see? It's a spin. I might have a part 2 that I'll be showing you how to use re-effects and slide transition, swing transition, zoom out transition. This is my first tutorial, so I hope you enjoy. And if there's any questions, anything that I forgot, please put in the comments. Make sure that if there's any specific tutorials you would like me to do, I'd be more than happy to. But this is just a beginner basic thing to show off and basics that I didn't know and I want to help people with. So I hope you enjoy it. So please consider subscribing, liking, and I'll see you next time.